Hello and welcome back to English Sound Building, an advanced pronunciation podcast where you do the work to build muscle memory, and master new sounds. I'm Tamsin from English Brick by Brick. Always remember that successful communication is possible in any one of the thousands of global English accents. This podcast is for those of you who enjoy playing with sound. We're here to have fun. If you'd find it useful to read as you listen, you can now find a free script for this podcast on my Patreon page. That's www.patreon.com/EnglishBrickByBrick. The link's in the episode notes, as well as a free video bonus. Today, we're learning about my favorite sound, schwa, or So why is it my favorite sound? Well, not only because I like saying schwa, but because it's the most common sound in English, and in my opinion, particularly gives most English from England accents their flavour. It's also one of the most important in terms of understanding. It helps distinguish between stressed and unstressed syllables and stressed and unstressed words, features which research shows are important when it comes to communicating your message clearly, no matter what your linguistic background. Now, we'll talk more about schwa in stressed and unstressed words in another episode. Today, we're just focusing on schwa in individual words. So, what is the schwa sound? It's the short, neutral sound many short vowels are reduced to in unstressed syllables in individual words. Some people like to think of it as the lazy sound. Think of the ER letters at the end of words such as father, mother, brother, sister. Or think of the way in which the letter O changes between rot and carrot. So we find schwa a lot in unstressed syllables, but not all unstressed syllables have schwa. In particular, syllables with long vowels and diphthongs tend not to be reduced to schwa. In terms of spelling patterns, any vowel could be represented by a schwa, as can the letter Y. The letters ER in unstressed syllables are also likely to be a schwa sound. And again, this is particularly noticeable in many English from England accents, as well as in some other global English accents, because we don't pronounce the final R in that ER letter combination in the way that many other global English accents do. Let's talk about how to make the schwa sound. It's a short mid sound. And again, thinking of it as the lazy sound can help here, because to make it, your mouth has to be as fully relaxed as possible. It should neither be fully open nor fully closed. Your tongue should be resting in the middle of your mouth, and your lips should also be resting. Then, if you vibrate your vocal cords quickly, and remember that English short vowels are very short, you should hear that sound. If you're not hearing that sound, play with the position of your tongue and your lips, and you'll hopefully be able to feel that relaxed point. Listen to what happens if my tongue is too high, or too far forward, or too low, You see it goes to that sound. Okay, let's start the workout. First, we're going to look at some common words with schwa. To start with, I'll read them reasonably slowly, with a pause for you to repeat each one. As you repeat, really think about that stressed syllable, and then if there are any schwas in any unstressed syllables. About. Actor. Afraid. Amazing. Banana. Better. Breakfast. Brother. Butter. Camera. Cinema. Color. Customer. Dangerous. Elephant. Exercise. Famous. Flower. Forget. future, interview, kilometer, letter, machine, negative, neighbor, paper, player, remember, Saturday, shower, sister, together, tomorrow, trousers, vegetable, water, weather, wonderful, yesterday. Well done. We're now going to go through the same words again, but this time I'll read them in groups of 4, pausing after each 4 for you to repeat. This will make you read through them faster and will challenge your muscles more. About, actor, afraid, amazing. Banana, better, breakfast, brother. Butter, camera, cinema, color. Customer, dangerous, elephant, exercise. Famous, flower, forget, future. Interview, kilometer, letter, machine. Negative, neighbor, paper, player. Remember, Saturday, shower, sister. Together, tomorrow, trousers, vegetable. Water, weather, wonderful, yesterday. Fantastic. Now let's try some sentences using those words. As in previous episodes, you might notice some other changes to the pronunciation of the words in the sentence as they're all read quickly together. We'll talk more about this connected speech in future episodes. There are 5 sentences. I'll read each sentence once, quite slowly, once at a more natural pace. Then I'll pause to let you repeat, and then I'll read the same sentence again, pausing to let you repeat one more time before we move on to the next sentence. Sentence 1. An elephant never forgets. An elephant never forgets. An elephant never forgets. Sentence 2. Never use a camera in the cinema. Never use a camera in the cinema. Never use a camera in the cinema. Sentence 3. Bananas are better than vegetables for breakfast. Bananas are better than vegetables for breakfast. Bananas are better than vegetables for breakfast. Sentence 4. I wonder whether we had wonderful weather yesterday. I wonder whether we had wonderful weather yesterday. I wonder whether we had wonderful weather yesterday. And sentence 5. My famous neighbor gave an amazing interview to the Saturday newspaper. My famous neighbor gave an amazing interview to the Saturday newspaper. My famous neighbour gave an amazing interview to the Saturday newspaper. And hopefully you'll see in those sentences how the balance of stressed and unstressed syllables and many, many syllables with the schwa sound really gives English its rhythm. Finally, we're going to review a couple of the tongue twisters we've looked at so far, but this time concentrating on the schwa sound. If you don't recognize these tongue twisters, make sure that you are checking out the video bonus for each podcast episode because you'll find a couple in there to practice each week. As we do this, if you need to pause the podcast, slow the podcast down, that's absolutely fine if that helps you to get your mouth around the sounds. The first tongue twister: lesser, leather, never, weathered, wetter, weather, better. So can we read it 3 times without stopping? I'll go first. Lesser leather, never weathered, wetter, weather, better. Lesser leather, never weathered, wetter, weather, better. Lesser leather, never weathered, wetter, weather, better. I almost got tripped up on the last one there. Your turn now. Well done. And then the second, a very similar one with a lot of weathers, is that rhyme we looked at about the weather. Whether the weather is good or whether the weather is not, whether the weather is cold or whether the weather is hot, we'll weather the weather, whatever the weather, whether we like it or not. So again, we're going for 3 times as quickly as we can. Whether the weather is good or whether the weather is not, whether the weather is cold or whether the weather is hot, we'll weather the weather, whatever the weather, whether we like it or not. Whether the weather is good or whether the weather is not, whether the weather is cold or whether the weather is hot, we'll weather the weather, whatever the weather, whether we like it or not. Whether the weather is good or whether the weather is not, whether the weather is cold or whether the weather is hot, we'll weather the weather, whatever the weather, whether we like it or not. Your turn. Fantastic. That's the end of this time's workout. Practice it as often as you can to build muscle and muscle memory, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next one. This podcast is brand new, and if you liked it, it would really help if you'd rate and review. Don't forget, if you'd like a script of the podcast, a couple of bonus tongue twisters, or simply to check out more free English, please head over to my Patreon at www.patreon.com/EnglishBrickByBrick. If you use social media, come and follow me there. I'm based on Instagram at English Brick by Brick, and my feed is also shared to Facebook. Again, the page is English Brick by Brick, and Twitter at Ing Brick by Brick. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to check out this week's video bonus and enjoy sound building until next time.